What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be doing the AFC East record predictions for everyone in the division. So, I did the Raiders record prediction, and I did the Jets. But I realized I don't really have enough time to do one each week like how I wanted to do, so I'm just going to go by division now. So, there's 8 divisions, doing this one a day. So, it should be around 10 weeks or so. This entire little record prediction should be done. So, first here in the AFC East, it's going to be probably the owners of the AFC East that's been for years, the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't think they'll be this year, I'm going to be honest. So we're going to go week by week and I'm going to see if they're going to win. Currently, I really like the ad of Kenneth Walker. I thought that was a great ad for them, Super Bowl MVP. So, I guess let's go get started with them. Week 1 here against the Chiefs and Broncos. I think the Broncos will be worse. It just depends. It depends if Mahomes is back. I don't think he'll be back by week 1 or week 2. I think it'll be like mid-October. Or mid-early October, I think, is when he'll return. So I think without him, they'll be in a bit of a pickle because I guess they could rely on Kenneth Walker, the Super Bowl MVP. But I don't know if he'll be enough to beat the Broncos because I think they'll be worse, but I still think they'll be really solid defense. So I'm going to give this week 1 win to the Broncos. Week 2, we got the Colts. I don't even know if Daniel Jones will be back by that time. So maybe a game without both starting quarterbacks, which would be kind of odd. But I think overall, the Chiefs are a better team, even without quarterbacks. The question for them is, can they stop Jonathan Taylor and Alec Pierce? Maybe. With they added Mansour Lane. I think he has a chance to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. So if he starts off good in the first couple weeks, I think they could win. If he doesn't, I don't know. So just to be safe, I'm gonna say that the Chiefs lose this one as well. Now week 3, coming to the Dolphins, I think this will be a pretty easy win for the Chiefs. I don't think the Dolphins will be entirely as good as they were even last year, even though they went like 9-8 or something. I just think the loss of Jalen Waddle and all that that was a big loss for them. Those are their only good receiver, and obviously Tyreek Hill is their free agent now, and he obviously destroyed his leg mid-season there. So they definitely got a lot worse after him. Week 4 against the Raiders, I actually think they'll split with the Raiders, so I'll have them win this one, and then I guess they'll lose week 15. I think the Raiders will be pretty solid this year, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. Week 6 is the first game against the Chargers. I think they'll get swept by the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to be really good this season, so I'm going to do that. And going back to the Broncos here, I could see them splitting with the Broncos, so we'll have that week 8 there win. Week 7, the Seahawks. The Seahawks are still going to be really good, so I don't have them winning that. Week 9 against the Jets. It's the Jets. The Jets might win 3 or 4 games, and it's not going to be one of these ones, so I'm going to have the Chiefs winning that one. Week 10 against the Falcons. This could actually be a really good game, a really close shootout game, because I think Bijan's probably the best running back in the league currently, and then Mahomes should be back by this time. So, I don't know. That's a tough one. With Drake London, both the teams are pretty solid. So, just for the sake of so they don't do too bad, I think they're going to win this one. Even though I think Week 10 is that 50-50 toss-up. Week 11, the Cardinals. I think they beat the Cardinals. Week 12, the Bills. I think they lose to the Bills here. It's usually how it is. They lose to the Bills in the regular season. Then they beat them in the playoffs. But so far, I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. Well, I guess we'll have to see. Week 13 with the Rams. I don't think they're going to beat the Rams. I really don't. I think the Rams literally have a chance to go 17-0 with how good they're going to be. So sadly, I'm going to have the Chiefs losing that one. Week 14 here with the Bengals. This is a classic matchup. AFC Championship was against them both for 2 years in a row. It was 2020 and 2021. Both really great matchups. Bengals won one, and then the next year the Chiefs won. So this is a 50-50 toss-up between me. It's honestly if the Bengals defense can stop Kenneth Walker and Mahomes. It all depends on that. I have no doubt that Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase will be good against the Kansas City Chiefs defense. It's just that with Chris Jones getting older, obviously, their defense is. I don't think defense would be as good, honestly. So I'm going to give this one to the Bengals, even though that I still believe that's a 50-50 toss-up. Week 15 here to the Patriots, Drake May, Kansas City. This is a tough one, really. I do think the Patriots will be really good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Mahomes just wins these games. Same with the 49ers. He finds a way to win these games. Like, for example, last season against the Lions, I thought the Lions were Super Bowl contenders, and then he came in and beat them by like a score, I think, which was really surprising. So I think he could find a way to win these games. The Chiefs could find a way to win these games. So I'm gonna have him winning at least one of these. And based off history, I'm gonna have the 49ers actually lose, because week 16 with the 49ers, they're super injury prone, the entire team, honestly. So I would not be surprised if by week 16, half their team's injured. So I think that's a good guess for them, and I'm gonna have to lose the Patriots. So 7-10, they didn't go 6-11 last year, but honestly, the Chiefs just have a lot of holes with their wide receiver room. Now, like with week 10 and week 14, I think this could be toss up. So if you give them both wins there, they're 8-9. Honestly, it's hard to tell how they do, but I don't think they'll be a playoff team, sadly. But we'll have to see. Moving on to the Chargers now. I think Chargers will have one of the best offenses here with Mike McDaniels. I think he's one of the best OCs in the league, if not the best. So, with Justin Herbert, I think he will actually have an MVP season. He doesn't have the greatest receivers, but they're still really good. A lot of good, solid receivers, especially picking up David Njoku as well. I still think that defense will be solid, even though they lost Jesse Minter, which was obviously he's a Raven now. So week 1 here against the Cardinals, they're gonna win that one, I think, pretty easily. It's gonna be a good week 1 showing for them. They're probably gonna score a lot. I don't think the Cardinals will be very good this year. Week 2 against the Raiders, I can see them sweeping the Raiders here. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sweep in the Raiders because I think their offense is really good. So right now, I actually think the Bills win this one. I think the Bills will be really good as well. It'll definitely be a shootout game, but I feel like the Bills will just come out on top. Week 4 against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I do think the Seahawks will be good, but I do not think they'll be as good as they were, for their Super Bowl season this year. So I'm gonna have the Chargers winning that one. Week 5 against the Broncos. I think they'll split with the Broncos. So I'll have them win this one and lose week 18. So with the Chiefs, I had them getting swept, I believe, swept by the Chargers. So I gotta stay true to my word. Week 8, Chargers vs Rams. Rams are gonna be hard to beat. So unfortunately, I'm gonna give them the loss there. Texans Chargers. This will be a really good matchup with that defense. It'll probably be the best defense that season. With probably one of the best offenses next season. So it's honestly a toss-up here, week 9. Really hard to tell who can win this, but I'm gonna hand it to the Texans. I think their defense will be able to rattle Justin Herbert. I think their O-line is a lot better. I think it's gotten a lot better, but good enough to stop that pass rush and Danielle Hunter? I don't think so. Week 10 against my Ravens. I think they could win this one, and I think they probably will. So I'm going to give this one to the Chargers. Hurts to do that, but I think they're going to win that one. Week 11 Jets. I'm not going to win that one. Then week 12. This was the wild card matchup last season, I believe. Chargers Patriots. Patriots did walk away, but I think the Chargers will be a lot better, and I think the Patriots won't expect them to be as good as they were. So I'm going to have the Chargers win this one. Week 13 against the Bucks. They started off really good, then they kind of fell off. I'm gonna have the Chargers win this one. Week 15 with the 49ers. I said earlier, I think they're gonna be injured again. So I'm gonna give this one to the Chargers, and then this Dolphins win to the Chargers. So 13-4. That's really good. I expect them to win the division this year, and their offense I think is gonna be really good. I think their defense is still gonna be solid. But again, I guess we'll see. Let's move on. Now the Las Vegas Raiders, obviously they had the first overall pick in this year's draft. They did not have a good season, but I do think they will improve a significant amount. I think Ashton Jeanty is going to have a really good sophomore year. They've done a pretty solid job at upgrading their O-line. I think their defense with Max Crosby is still going to be pretty good. plus some of their additions that they've made. And I think either Fernando Mendoza, Kirk Cousins, whoever's starting, I think they'll both be pretty solid quarterbacks for the Raiders. So week 1 here, the Raiders usually start off pretty well, honestly. I believe week 2 of 2024, they beat the Ravens. And no one really expected that. I didn't, and they beat us, upsetting, but they usually start off pretty good. So I'm having to win this week 1 game, a little bit of a tough start for the Dolphins. Week 2, I think I had them getting split by the Chargers, so yeah, unfortunately, I just think that the Chargers will be really good. I don't think their defense will be able to stop them. Week 3 against the Saints, that'd be a pretty good game. I think the Saints will have a really solid offense. That is, if Jordan Tyson can stay healthy. And it depends on who's starting. I think it should be Tyler Shuck. He had a really awesome rookie season. So if he's starting, I think the Saints will win this, and sadly the Raiders will lose. Like that. I think they'll split with the Chiefs, honestly. So I'll have them win this one and then lose their next matchup, which is Week 18, so the last game of the season. So right now 2-4, not in the best place. Going to Week 5 here against the Patriots. They beat the Patriots last season, so maybe they could do it again, but not likely. Honestly, this 3-week stretch is really tough for them. This is a really tough schedule for the first overall pick. So I'm gonna have them. That's tough. So I'm gonna have them lose all 3 of these. I know, it's really upsetting if you're a Raiders fan. But I think they're still rebuilding, and I think in 2 or 3 seasons they could be a really good Super Bowl contending team based on how they do it in these upcoming off seasons. I don't know if they'll beat the Niners. I know they beat them in the preseason, but it's the preseason. So I'm not gonna lose this one. Same with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are just still too good. I think the Broncos will sweep them. So they're not off to a great start. For the last 3 games here, I actually think they'll win. I think the Titans will be a good team, but I think the Raiders will just be better. Cardinals, I don't know if they'll win a single game. And then with the Browns, I think they'll beat the Browns. Because depending on who the Browns play, obviously, as their quarterback, it really depends how the Browns are going to do. So 6-11, obviously better than last year, so that's all you can really hope for. But still, not a great season for the Raiders, I don't think. And last but not least, we have the Broncos. They went 14-3 last season, I believe, 13-4, one of those numbers. So yeah, they had a really good season last year. Made it to the AFC Championship. Obviously lost to the Patriots, unfortunately. But this year, I think they're gonna regress quite a bit. I think they'll still be a playoff team there. So let's just get into it. And looking at the schedule, this is a pretty tough schedule. This is not a lightweight schedule at all. Obviously, it wouldn't really be with how they made it to the the AFC Championship last year. So, week 1, I think I had them splitting with the Chiefs or getting swept by the Chiefs, or them sweeping the Chiefs. So, I think I'm gonna give them both these wins. I don't remember. I have a horrible memory. So, if I'm wrong, please feel free to bash me in the comments below. But I think it's realistic that they sweep the Chiefs. Week 2 against the Jags. I think the Jags will be a tad bit worse. I still think they have a good defense, pretty good offense. I think losing Travis Etienne is kind of a big loss for them. But I think the Broncos will be able to get a win here. Here against the Rams in week 3, I think they'll lose. It's the Rams. I honestly can't see a single game that the Rams lose. So, anyway, that's enough glaze for the Rams. Week 4 against the 49ers. This will be a healthy Niners team, I feel like, in week 4. Obviously, it's about towards the end of the season when they're not as good. But it's kind of if the Broncos defense is able to stop the 49ers offense healthy. So that's Brock Purdy, CMC, George Kittle. I don't know if George Kittle will be back by then because he did have an ACL tear in the divisional round, I believe. So I'm gonna give the Broncos this win. So pretty good. I think the Broncos will sweep with the Chargers. I think the Broncos will split with the Chargers. So have that there. Seahawks week 6. I actually think the Broncos will beat the Seahawks here. I still think the Seahawks will be good, like I said, but I think they'll regress a bit. I think the Broncos defense is still good, and I think they'll be able to throw off Sam Darnold enough to where they can win that game. Week 7 against the Cardinals. I think they're going to win this one. Week 9 against the Panthers. I actually happen to think the Panthers will be really good this year. So I'm going to have them surprisingly lose this game. I think the Panthers, it all depends on Bryce Young, really. I think they have a really good team. Obviously, they barely made the playoffs last year. They almost beat the Rams, though. So there's a lot to build off of. They obviously had Offensive Rookie of the Year, Teddy McMillan. There's a lot to build off of there, and I think they did a good job building off of what they had last season, and I think they'll be a better team. Week 11 here against the Raiders. I think they'll split the Raiders, or I think they'll sweep the Raiders. So I'm gonna have a win both of them. So right now 9-3 as we have it. So obviously, like I said, they'll be a playoff team. Week 12 against the Steelers. I think the Steelers will be pretty good. Honestly, I think they had a really good offseason, but I still think they're gonna beat the Steelers. They're gonna beat the Dolphins, then the Jets, and these last 2 games, I think they'll lose to the Bills and then the Patriots. So that gives me a record of 12-5. I'll put up all the records, total records, on the screen right now. So winning division, I believe, was the Chargers. Second place should be the Broncos, and then third Chiefs, and then the Raiders in fourth. I think that's a pretty good layout. Next week, I'm going to try to do another AFC division, or maybe I should do NFC. Comment down below who you want me to see predict next. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you guys next one, and goodbye.